Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
It's a damp and warm start this morning. We take a live look at Rocky Mount Mills. It is, of course, a little bit wet out there on the streets and sidewalks this morning. I'll show you when it looks heaviest over the weekend coming up.
First Lady Jill Biden is flying into Raleigh today, just a week after a visit from the president. Coming up, more on the campaign event she'll be attending this afternoon.
Classes are canceled here at Wake Christian Academy for the second straight day after a threat was made on Wednesday. Coming up, the plans the school has to talk to their students about what happened.
We will have that and much more on your Friday. We made it to the end of the week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. There was never a doubt.
No, we were going to make it. We're here.
Pretty mild temperature-wise all weekend. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center will continue into our weekend, but then we'll get some rain coming.
Yeah, looking at midday Saturday to midday Sunday is the wettest period of the weekend. It's light and patchy out there this morning. We've seen a bit of a broken line of showers from Fayetteville up through Raleigh, up toward Mecklenburg County, Virginia. It's really starting to fizzle out just in the last 30 minutes or so. I don't think it's going to hold together all the way to the I-95 corridor. After that, we're looking at relatively dry conditions. It's still going to be on the gray side. It may be a little drizzly, a little misty from time to time, especially as we get through the next few hours of the morning. A little light rain there up around Lewisburg, but we're starting to see this fizzle a little bit. And Futurecast shows that too. By the time we get to 10 or 11, most of that rain is over and doesn't really reappear during the afternoon. I mean, a tiny shower can pop up here or there, but we may also see a few thin spots in the clouds on and off. I don't think we're going to clear, but with warm temperatures and the rain ending, it may be, fairly comfortable to be outside. Our chance of rain this afternoon is just about 20%. Let's talk about temperatures as you're headed out the door. We're in the 60s. It's also breezy. Our winds, for the most part, about 5 to 10 miles per hour. It's a southerly wind, really keeping things warm. A live look at Chapel Hill. It's a little wet there on the pavement and on the sidewalks right now with a temperature of around 67. We're looking at mid to upper 60s for most of the viewing area right now. We do climb into the low 70s for this afternoon. Temperatures will drop a bit as we see a better chance for rain this weekend. I'll show you coming up. Brian?
It is 8:02 right now. We're seeing a lot of improvement on the eastern side of Wake County. 64 westbound, that earlier crash at Edgemont Road there at the bridge has cleared now, and traffic is flowing a lot more freely through that area. I want to show you the sensor map just to give you an idea of what you're going to run into as you head out of Zebulon back toward Lizard Lick Road on 64 westbound. Delays now begin beyond the Green Pace Road Bridge. Starts to slow down around the Lizard Lick Road interchange, and then start to see traffic really thin as you head toward the 64 business interchange. Still going to see a little bit of a delay, but not nearly as bad as it was earlier. We're now tracking a crash over on the western side of Wake County in Morrisville on Highway 55 at Brook Arbor Drive. That's just north of High House Road. And we are seeing some delays in both directions as they work to get that crash cleared. Apparently a crash with injuries. That earlier crash at Glenwood Avenue at Hollybrook appears to have cleared in the past few minutes, so that's some good news. Looks like traffic's flowing freely through there. Still watching 885 in Durham. A little bit of a backup in either direction of 885 this morning between 147 down to I-40. About a 2 or 3 minute slowdown this morning on either side of the Durham freeway, but we're not seeing any big problems elsewhere in Durham. Taking a look at your major approaches into Raleigh right now, a 7-minute backup showing up as you come in from Wake Forest on southbound Capitol Boulevard from 98 down to 540.
All right, thanks, Brian. Later today, we'll have our second visit to Raleigh from a member of the Biden family already this year. First Lady Jill Biden will be here for a fundraiser to help kick off her husband's re-election campaign. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from RDU this morning. Kelsey, the First Lady's visit comes just over a week after President Biden made a stop here in the Triangle.
Michelle, it sure does. And the First Lady is expected to arrive here at RDU in just a few hours. She's coming here for a private campaign fundraising event. And this is happening just a little while after her heading out to Forsyth Tech in Winston-Salem. Governor Roy Cooper is expected to join her there earlier this afternoon. Today's campaign event in the Triangle is happening in a North Raleigh neighborhood. President Biden did a campaign stop at this same location back in 2011. John and Kristen Rebloco are hosting today's event. Public records show the couple has given nearly $800,000 to Democratic causes and politicians over time, both at the state and federal level. The First Lady's plane is expected to land here at RDU at 1:45, and the fundraising event here shouldn't last that long. She's expected to head out to South Carolina by mid-afternoon, according to the White House schedule. We'll keep you updated as she arrives. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live at RDU.
Classes at Wake Christian Academy are canceled for a second day in a row. School leaders say they want to make sure students are safe after a threat came in Wednesday night. WRAL's Brett Neese explains the school plans to hold a meeting on Monday to give students a chance to talk about this scary situation.
When students get back here to Wake Christian Academy on Monday, the school plans to hold meetings by grade level so that students can ask their principals and teachers questions about what happened and fully understand this situation. So let's go back to Wednesday. That's when that threat was made by a high school student who is no longer enrolled in the school. The Wake County Sheriff's Office got involved in the investigation, which lasted late Wednesday night and into the early morning hours on Thursday. That's why classes were canceled on Thursday. But the head of school said because of that disruption, they went ahead and canceled classes today as well. And they canceled all after-school activities until next week. So on Monday, things will be back to normal and they will hold those meetings. And the school is also encouraging parents to have conversations with their kids at home about what happened as well. In Wake County, Brett Neese, WRAL News.
Some Durham Public Schools staff will get a second paycheck, ensuring they get the amount they were promised for January. And that decision came down after what DPS says was record turnout for their board meeting last night. Hundreds of DPS employees gathered to voice their concerns about issues like pay and staffing. A budget amendment bridges a funding gap for classified DPS staff, providing $4.5 million to cover their paychecks through January. There is an investigation underway to determine how the school system got to this point.
New this morning, a man is hurt after he was hit by a car last night in southeast Raleigh. This happened around 9 p.m. at the intersection of Rock Quarry Road and Blazing Star Lane. Raleigh police say he was walking in the road when he was hit. EMS took him to the hospital. He is expected to be okay, and no charges were filed. That investigation continues.
The Raleigh Fire Department is investigating a house fire on Idlewood Village Drive. This is video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. You can see the police blocking off the entrance to that neighborhood while fire crews put out the flames. Officials say there were no injuries. As of now, the full extent of damage to the home is unknown. The cause of the fire is under investigation.
Achieving national excellence, that's the goal Wake School Superintendent has for the state's largest school district. Hundreds of parents, staff, and students attended a presentation from Robert Taylor, who just completed his first 100 days on the job. Taylor has been listening, learning, and connecting with students, staff, and parents. He spoke before hundreds of people there, highlighting what works well in the school district and what he calls next-level opportunities.
I think the biggest need is making sure that we have an equitable distribution of resources. That's absolutely what I've heard from parents, from teachers, people across the district.
In his community report, Taylor says the district does an excellent job focusing on the needs of students, and he notes how the community values strong public schools. Parents WRAL spoke with say they want to see more pay for staff as well as seeing safe, inclusive learning environments. Happening today, we'll get an update on a case to determine the fate of photo voter ID in the state's constitution. The state NAACP argues the legislature didn't have the authority to add that amendment to the ballot. They say it's a case of illegal racial gerrymandering. We are waiting to hear when this trial will happen. It's been on hold since 2018, and the timing for this is especially important given that this is a big election year. For now, photo voter IDs are needed before casting a ballot.
Coming up, a major call from the Biden administration as child deaths are on the rise. The new initiative from the White House to help stop teen gun violence in the U.S.
A new study finds an alarming correlation between pregnant women and children with respiratory illnesses. Why the COVID vaccine may be recommended to mothers ahead of pregnancy.
3 more days of this wetter pattern, and the wettest time is likely to be from midday Saturday to midday Sunday. I'll walk you through it hour by hour and show you how much rain we could see.
8:12 on your Friday morning. This is a live look over Wilson. Very cloudy there. You can see the whirligigs going a little bit, but it is warm out there. It's just like yesterday. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner has another cloudy look over Wake Forest. This is the story this morning. It's cloudy, but it is super warm. You don't need a heavy jacket.
You definitely don't. Maybe just a light raincoat, except we're not seeing a lot of rain really either. We take a live look at Wake Forest, and you can tell it is damp, just like it was yesterday, but we're not seeing that heavy drizzle that we did yesterday. Instead, we've seen a line of rain that's been moving through, but it's almost completely fizzled out. A little bit of that to getting ready to move into Cumberland County, a little bit of that across Wake County and on up toward the I-85 corridor, but it's almost done. It's not going to hold together all the way to the I-95 corridor, but a little sprinkle between Wake Forest and Lewisburg and then on up toward Carr Lake and Lake Gaston. We take a look at the big picture. We have a cold front, and out ahead of the front, we've seen just these light showers this morning. That front will continue to move eastward and drop into South Carolina. Then tomorrow, lift northward as a warm front, followed by another cold front, and that's when we're going to see our best chance for rain. So we can follow along with Futurecast. This morning, again, we've had a few light showers, but there's not a whole lot out there, and it doesn't look like it's going to last much past the next couple of hours. After that, we might see some thin spots in the clouds as we get through the afternoon and into the evening. There could also be an isolated shower that pops up, but I wouldn't expect to see much. It may be a bit breezy, but temperatures are going to be warm this afternoon, so you may decide you want to head out for a walk or even chance eating dinner outside, because that chance for rain is pretty minimal, and we'll have these nice warm temperatures. We take a look at the next day, so we get into Saturday. We start to see that front lifting northward. It's going to spread rain across the area up through around lunchtime, so even in the morning, it's likely to be a bit on the wet side. And the rain's going to rotate through all during the afternoon. There's midnight, and then finally the cold front swings through, and that's going to bring one more big push of rain up through around lunchtime, and then after that we start to dry out. How much rainfall? Probably somewhere between a half an inch and an inch and a half is what we'll see across our viewing area on Saturday. So we do have a low chance for flooding here back across the Piedmont and into the mountains. It's more of a moderate chance. 64 Saturday, 65 Sunday. So temperatures will be a little bit cooler tomorrow than today as we climb into the 70s. Best chance of rain likely to be starting at least by the middle of the day and into the afternoon, and then better chance for rain on Sunday in the morning, and certainly it'll be a wet night. Once all that moves out, we return to January temperatures with highs in the 50s and overnight lows in the 30s. A couple of mornings next week will be close to freezing, Brian.
Elizabeth, it's just about 8:15 right now. All of those delays on 64 westbound leaving Zebulon have cleared up now, so that's some good news. It's a smooth ride as you head out toward Wendell and Knightdale. Just getting reports of a hit-and-run investigation on 440 westbound around the Wake Forest Road interchange. Not seeing any delays right now, but look out for some police activity possibly in that area. Elsewhere around Wake County, our major routes are looking okay. Traffic's getting a little congested on 440 westbound between Lake Boone Trail and Wade Avenue. Still watching this crash over in Morrisville on 55 at Brook Arbor Drive, which is north of High House Road. It looks like we're still seeing a little bit of a delay in that area in both directions of Highway 55. I want to take you to Durham for a quick check of those major approaches into the Bull City. We're still seeing a little bit of a slowdown on the northbound side of 885 around TW Alexander Drive, but it clears up pretty quickly. Also on eastbound 70 heading toward Miami Boulevard, a little bit of a backup there, but overall our major approaches are looking fine. No delays on 40 eastbound coming in from Chapel Hill this morning, and out of North Durham on southbound 501, that ride from Infinity Road to I-85 seeing just a 2-minute delay.
This morning, we're taking a closer look at these unusually warm temperatures that we are experiencing this January. Anthony Baglione joins us now to explain the trends that we are seeing in this crazy weather. Anthony?
It has been crazy, yes. Certainly not feeling like winter. We have to go to March here before we're officially in the spring season. When we look at our forecast the next couple of days, we're, again, talking 70s through this afternoon. Our normal high for this time of year, that's the key thing. 52 degrees, we are well above that. We don't get close to it until we head into Monday and Tuesday of next week. We talk about the trends, though, when we look here at January specifically, the high temperature for each and every single day, where we are at 52 degrees, like I said, is the normal for us. We go all the way back, though, that's 1970 right there, where it was just below 50, about 47 was the normal high. And we take that trend line, as of course there are some fluctuations right there, but when we statistically look at this, we are up almost 5 degrees compared to where we were were back in 1970. Going forward, it still looks like we are going to be above normal. This is the beginning of February, still in winter for us. Everyone talking above normal temperatures. Again, what that means for us, our normal's 52. We are likely to continue to be above that here for the next little while.
All right, thanks, Anthony. Colombia's government declared a disaster yesterday as the country battles wildfires outside the capital. Officials say 25 to 31 fires are burning, only 9 of them under control. The government is asking for international help to combat the wildfires. The U.S., Chile, Peru, and Canada are helping so far.
As those wildfires rage in Colombia, a tiny animal is rescued by firefighters. Check it out. A baby mole was rescued from the embers and then released into a safer area. This comes after Colombia's government declared a natural disaster area there yesterday. Wildfires continue to spread outside the country's capital of Bogota. Officials are seeking international aid, and so far, U.S., Chile, Peru, and Canada have offered help.
And in the wake of surging gun violence, the White House hopes that school principals across the country can be part of the solution. Jackie Ibanez takes a closer look at the new safety initiative and why educators are being asked to lend a helping hand.
When parents send their kids to school, they expect them to return safely home, not become the latest victims of a mass shooting. But with guns still the #1 cause of death for kids and teens in the U.S., according to the CDC, the White House is launching a new plan to try and combat the surging violence.
The parents in your schools trust you.
Calling on principals to teach parents who own firearms the importance of properly storing their guns to help prevent their children from getting a hold of them.
You can show parents that they can be part of preventing the next shooting.
The Department of Education will be handing out firearm safety guides drafted by the Justice Department to schools across the country. The document advises gun owners to unload all their weapons before placing them in locked cabinets or safes. Ammunition should be locked away in a separate container.
70 to 90% of guns used in youth suicides, unintentional shootings among children, and school shootings perpetrated by shooters under the age of 18 are acquired from the home.
This all comes as the K-12 school shooting database reveals.
In 2023, there were at least 346 incidents of gunfire on school grounds in this country. That is the most ever recorded.
That was Jackie Ibanez reporting. While no federal law requires gun owners to lock up their weapons, the White House hopes initiatives like this can help protect people at the state level.
Fallout continues from the grounding of the 737 MAX 9 jets. On Thursday, Alaska Airlines announced the grounding of the jets would cost the airline nearly $150 million. The planes were grounded after the January 5th incident that blew a hole in the side of an Alaska Airlines plane earlier this month when the door went flying out. Even if the planes return to service as planned, the airline says it will have had to cancel about 3,000 flights because the grounding had reduced its overall capacity by about 7% for the quarter.
The Federal Trade Commission is launching an inquiry into the role some tech companies are playing in the development of artificial intelligence. The FTC says the inquiry will look into how tech giants like Amazon, Microsoft, and Google may use its investments as a way to pressure AI companies, which could harm competition. Microsoft has been investing in the maker of ChatGPT since 2019, while Amazon and Google have made recent investments in a San Francisco startup, Anthropic. All 3 companies were given compulsory orders that requires them to disclose how much money they've invested and agreements with the AI companies.
Kia is recalling over 100,000 of its SUVs and minivans because of safety hazards with the vehicle's roofs. Now, the recall is for the 2022 to 24 model years Carnival minivans and 23 and 24 Sportages. Inspectors say the roof molding can get loose or detached while driving, which creates a hazard for other cars. It could lead to a crash. Owners can expect to receive notification letters by March 15th. Kia says its dealers will inspect the molding of the vehicles and will make a fix if necessary for free.
People who deal with migraines may have a new way of predicting when they'll come. A new study from the journal Neurology found 2 ways to predict them: sleep quality and energy. Data shows that those who did not sleep well had a low energy one day and were more likely to have migraines the next day. Chronic migraines are the leading cause of disability in people younger than 50. That's according to a February 2018 study.
New data shows babies born to mothers who got COVID while pregnant had unusually high rates of respiratory issues. Researchers enrolled more than 200 women with COVID-19 in the study in Los Angeles. None of the babies tested positive for the infection at birth, but about 17% were diagnosed with respiratory issues, higher than average for newborns. The study found unvaccinated mothers had 3 times the odds of respiratory distress in their babies compared to mothers who had at least 1 dose of the COVID vaccine.
We have some exciting breaking news for you. Justin Timberlake will be performing in Raleigh this summer. We just got a news release from Live Nation. JT's The Forget Tomorrow World Tour will be coming to PNC Arena June 12th. Pre-sale for Citi Card members and Verizon customers, that will start Tuesday, January 30th. General tickets go on sale Friday, February 2nd. This will be JT's first concert tour in 5 years. He will kick it all off in Vancouver, April 29th.
Exciting. Thanks, Renee. Still to come for us, hundreds will gather to celebrate culture, arts, and food this weekend in Raleigh. We'll tell you where you can join the event, the African American Cultural Festival. That's coming up.
Get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Another warm, muggy day. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner standing by to tell us what we can expect for the rest of today and into the weekend.
We do have gray skies here in Sanford, and it is damp on the streets, too. You're going to see that no matter where you are. It's a little breezy, and temperatures are mild. We're in the mid to upper 60s right now. We did have a band of rain that was moving across the viewing area earlier. It's all but completely fizzled out. We could see an isolated shower later on this afternoon, but our potential for rain today is really minimal. Our temperatures right now range from the mid to upper 60s with gray skies. We could see some thin spots in the clouds later this afternoon. Temperatures are pretty comfortable for exercising, especially for this time of year. We're in the upper 60s now. We climb into the low 70s in the middle of the afternoon, and our evening temperatures will remain in the 60s, Brian.
8:27, and we're looking okay around the triangle. As we take a look at that traffic map, seeing a little bit of a delay on 440 westbound this morning between Glenwood Avenue and Wade Avenue. That's just congestion, not seeing a crash or anything out there. There may still be some activity up at Strickland Road at Leesville Road from an earlier crash, but we're looking at things moving along pretty well out there. In Durham, traffic looks fine on our major routes this morning. As we take a live look at I-40 at Wade Avenue in Raleigh, some wet roads throughout the area because of those light showers, but right now not picking up any delays on westbound I-40.
Thanks, Brian. First Lady Jill Biden is making a stop in Raleigh today. The visit coming a little more than a week after her husband visited the Triangle for several hours. She'll be here for a Biden-Harris campaign kickoff fundraiser. She's also making stops in South Carolina and Florida for a similar events this weekend. Next on Fox 50, weight loss drugs are no longer covered under the state health plan. Why health leaders say they're not paying for the drugs anymore. That's next on Fox 50.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Live look at Wake Forest right here. Gray skies, damp conditions out there on the streets and the sidewalks. I'll show you when we'll have the best chance of rain this weekend coming up.
And First Lady Jill Biden is headed to the Triangle today to kick off the campaigning season. The fundraising event she'll be at later on today.
And some relief for Durham Public Schools employees in the fight over pay issues. The $4.5 million money that is helping to provide a second check for classified employees today. Let's get that today on figure it out down the road, how to get things straightened out with that. I'm Jeff Hogan. It's good to have you with us here on a Friday.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Yeah, another warm morning, just like yesterday. Don't need the heavy coats today. You might need the umbrella. We are seeing some spotty showers out there. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner shows us where that rain is falling. Mostly dry, but some areas could see some sprinkles.
We did have a band of showers that moved into the viewing area, especially like as far east as the Raleigh region. But you can see that that's really tapered off at this point, and we're not likely to have much chance for rain later on today. That may be mostly it for the day. Notice as we take it past lunchtime, there's not much that shows up there, maybe a little sprinkle or two. We could also have a few thin spots in the clouds this afternoon, and with warm temperatures, it may be pretty comfortable to spend a little time outside later today. Our chance for rain after lunchtime is only about 20%. Right now, winds are about 5 to 10 miles per hour out of the south, so we continue to see that warmth and moisture pushing into the area. It's damp in Chapel Hill this morning where we had a shower roll through earlier, but we're seeing damp conditions on a lot of streets this morning. 67 is our high right now, our current temperature, I should say, and our wind again is coming out of the south around 9 miles per hour. We're warm this morning, mid to upper 60s. We've definitely broken a previous warm record for our morning temperature. The previous record was 61, and we've been in the mid to upper 60s all morning. We climb into the low 70s this afternoon. That's not likely to break a record. The record high is 78 for today, but it's definitely a warm day. Lots of cloud cover. A better chance for rain tomorrow, especially midday Saturday through midday Sunday. I'll walk you through it coming up. Brian?
It is 8:32 right now, and we're just getting reports of a minor crash out at Aviation Parkway at Globe Road. That should get cleared pretty quickly. It looks like there may still be some activity in northwest Raleigh with that crash earlier at Strickland Road at Leesville Road, just south of the 540 interchange. And we're getting reports of a crash on 64 westbound. This will be our second crash of the morning out there between the Green Pace Road Bridge and the Lizard Lick Road interchange. When I take you to that camera at 64 Lizard Lick Road, not seeing any obvious signs of a crash or any backups out there. And our sensors are only measuring a little bit of a slowdown there between Green Pace Road and Lizard Lick Road. I'll watch it, let you know if it becomes a bigger issue. Our partners at Waze, of course, that's crowdsourced. Drivers report what they're seeing out there are not indicating that this is a very serious crash. Taking a look at your major approaches into Durham right now, about a 2-minute delay on westbound 98 from Highway 50 back toward 885. And as we take a look at the other major routes in Durham, not picking up any big delays. Still a little bit of a slowdown on 885 northbound right around TW Alexander Drive. It looks like those earlier eastbound delays on 70 approaching Miami Boulevard have cleared up nicely.
Later today, First Lady Jill Biden will be in Raleigh to help kick off her husband's re-election campaign. It'll be the second visit for a member of the Biden family in just a little over a week. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from RDU this morning. And Kelsey, that campaign event today, an invite-only deal.
Jeff, it sure is. And the First Lady is expected to arrive here at RDU in just a few hours. That event is going to be a private campaign fundraising event. She'll be headed here to Raleigh after an early afternoon visit to Forsyth Tech in Winston-Salem. Governor Roy Cooper is expected to join her out there. Today's campaign event in the Triangle is happening in a North Raleigh neighborhood. President Biden did a campaign stop at this same location back in 2011. John and Kristen Rep Local are hosting today's event. Public records show the couple has given nearly $800,000 to Democratic causes and politicians over time, both at the state and federal level. First Lady Biden's plane is expected to land here at RDU at 1:45, and the fundraising event shouldn't last that long here in Raleigh. She's expected to head out to South Carolina by mid-afternoon, according to the White House schedule. We'll keep you updated as she arrives here at RDU. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live at RDU.
Some Durham Public Schools staff members will get a second paycheck, ensuring they get the amount they were promised for January. That decision came down after what DPS says was record turnout for their board meeting last night.
Children worth $1 million and more.
Hundreds of DPS employees gathered to voice their concerns about issues like pay and staffing. A budget amendment bridges a funding gap for classified DPS staff, providing $4.5 million to cover their paychecks through this month. Quentin Heaton is an instructional assistant and falls under classified staff.
So far, I have taken about $300 pay cut off of my salary alone. And I have some co-workers who have taken up to $1,500 pay cut, and they've had over 29 years of experience.
Some employees say their salaries were affected by a policy change that will no longer credit them for years of experience worked elsewhere. They say DPS is now only paying people for their years of experience within the district. There is an investigation underway to determine how the school system got to this point. The chief financial officer is now suspended with pay.
Classes are canceled again today at Wake Christian Academy after a threat was called in Wednesday night. Wake County Sheriff's Office says a student made a disturbing phone call and indicated hurting themselves and others. The student is no longer enrolled at the academy. In a letter to parents, the school said the decision to close Thursday and Friday was made for the safety of the school community. This applies to extracurricular activities as well. Law enforcement treats every call, hoax or not, as if it's real because lives are at stake.
This is not a law enforcement problem. This is not a school problem. This is a community ecosystem. I said you got to have the school systems, your law enforcement partners, and your parents involved.
Wake County Sheriff's Office says depending on the severity of these school threats cases, charges could be filed. On Monday, students will be given the opportunity to meet with school staff and further discuss the threat. And we're looking into whether charges might be filed in this case.
New this morning, a man is hurt after he was hit by a car last night in southeast Raleigh. It happened around 9 p.m. at the intersection of Rock Quarry Road and Blazing Star Lane. Raleigh police say he was walking in the road when he was hit. EMS then took him to the hospital. He is expected to be okay. No charges were filed and the investigation is ongoing.
Raleigh Fire Department is investigating a house fire on Idlewood Village Drive. This is video taken by the WRAL breaking news tracker. You can see police blocking off the entrance to that neighborhood while fire crews put out the flames. Officials say there were no injuries. As of now, the full extent of the damage to the home is unknown. The cause of the fire is still under investigation.
Alabama executed a man last night using nitrogen gas, the first time that method has ever been used. Prison officials say 58-year-old Kenneth Eugene Smith was strapped into a gurney and forced to breathe nitrogen gas through a mask, depriving him of oxygen. Smith was convicted in a murder for hire killing of a preacher's wife, Elizabeth Sennett, back in 1988. The Supreme Court rejected a request to Smith's lawyers to block the execution. 2 other states, Oklahoma and Mississippi, have also approved the use of nitrogen gas, but neither has tried it.
The state health plan will no longer cover prescriptions for weight loss drugs starting April 1st. Last fall, the plan's governing board decided to not cover new prescriptions this year. Last night, they voted to end coverage for existing prescriptions as well. Weight loss drugs like Wegovy cost the plan more than any other drugs. The number of members using the drugs went from 5,000 at the start of last year to 25,000 by December. State health plan leaders said they did everything they could to keep those drugs available for people who need them for medical reasons. But the drug maker said, the drug maker, Novo Nordisk, won't negotiate, and it is breaking the bank.
That a company that produces medication here in Clayton, North Carolina and in Durham, North Carolina turns around and puts a price tag 4 times what it is in most of the rest of the world. That is an insult.
Board members said they could reconsider or reverse that decision if Novo Nordisk and CVS Caremark are willing to renegotiate the price of the drugs. Plan officials say they will continue to cover the drugs as directed by doctors for patients with diabetes.
And sticker shock forced Cumberland County commissioners to scale back the design of a performing arts center planned for downtown Fayetteville. This is it. The Crown Event Center will be built in the parking lot of the Cumberland County Courthouse. The 3,000-seat performing arts center is losing its outdoor terrace and speakeasy bar, but will keep its revenue-generating VIP section. County commissioners say having a performing arts center in the heart of Fayetteville is a long-term investment in the community.
We're looking at probably an 8% increase, which could easily be over $1 million in the food and beverage and the local occupancy tax coming up every year.
The Crown Event Center is being paid for by the county's occupancy, food and beverage taxes, and revenue expected to be generated by the facility.
This weekend, we find out who will be playing in this year's Super Bowl. First on Championship Sunday in the AFC title game, it's Kansas City Chiefs playing the Baltimore Ravens. That's a 3 o'clock kick. After that, the NFC Championship game on Fox 50. The Detroit Lions will be in San Francisco to play the 49ers. That game kicks off at 6:30. Chinese New Year's Festival is back in full swing, and the big celebration happening this weekend you can attend with the whole family. That is next in Out and About.
Also, a new tumbler is stirring all the craze for the Lunar New Year. We'll show you the latest Stanley Cup edition and why it's not available here in the U.S.
.844 is the time right now. There's clouds over the Wallace Simpson Whirligig Park right there in Wilson. Good morning to you. And you can see there's a little breeze there for sure. Clouds are moving as well. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. We'll get those clouds all over the place as that wind kind of moves that system through.
Yeah, well, we'll take a live look here at what's happening in downtown Raleigh. This is a look from our Jimmy V camera. A little breezy. You can see some of the flags flying a little bit, but notice the street here. Fayetteville Street starting to dry out a bit. It was a bit of a damp start this morning in a lot of places. We had a round of some showers that rolled through. For the most part, that round of showers is over at this point, but we still have a lot of cloud cover. We have a cold front that's back to the west. That cold front, as it moves through, helped to fire up a few of those light showers this morning, but there's not much rain with that. That front will slide southward into South Carolina and then pick up and move northward. And as that happens tomorrow, that will spawn more showers. So we'll likely see more rain, at least by lunchtime, if not even in the morning on Saturday. That continues Saturday night into the morning hours on Sunday. So that's going to be our wettest time period. We take a look at Futurecast, and you can see it looks pretty dry between now and lunchtime, and then even into the afternoon. It's possible that we would see a few thin spots in the clouds, maybe a little sunshine peeks through. We could also see an isolated shower, but really very little potential for rain for the rest of the day today. Just a 20% chance from here on out. But Saturday, that chance goes up to 70%. The rain becomes heavier during the afternoon. It's fairly heavy on and off overnight and into the first half of the day on Sunday. So midday Saturday to midday Sunday will be the wettest time period, but some of the models are starting to show that rain starting a little bit earlier on Saturday. Here's a live look at Chapel Hill, and it still looks wet on the streets there. It is warm out there. You see people out there in their shorts and t-shirts because it is so warm. Right now it is 67 degrees. Our dew point 63 means that it's also a very moist air mass, and it's a bit breezy too. That wind out of the south is what's helping to push all this warm air into our region. Right now it's 66 in South Hill, 65 Southern Pines, 67 in Goldsboro. We're looking at our 24-hour temperature change, pretty much right on what we saw yesterday. And yesterday we made it up to 70 degrees. The low temperature that we see during the day tends to be in the morning around 7 a.m. or so. And currently we're sitting at 67. The previous record warm low was 61 degrees. So certainly we have blown that out of the water. We also broke the previous record warm low yesterday morning. So unusually warm temperatures, especially for our overnight or morning lows. 73 for Raleigh, 72 Durham, 75 in Fayetteville. The record at RDU was 78. So we're not likely to break a record this afternoon, but temperatures are certainly well above normal. You can see those dark red colors indicating well above normal temperatures. Over the weekend, temperatures begin to cool off a little bit. And by next week, we're seeing temperatures much closer to normal, maybe even just a touch above. 52 is our normal high, 73 today, mid-60s for Saturday and Sunday, and then we're back to the 50s starting early next week. Again, looking at as much as a half an inch to an inch and a half of rain with the system over the weekend. We're dry Monday and Tuesday with a chance of a shower again Wednesday.
Happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, the United Nations Highest Court says Israel must take action to prevent any acts of genocide by its forces in Gaza. It also says it needs to let more aid into Gaza. But the International Court of Justice stopped short of calling on Israel to immediately stop its military campaign. This ruling stems from a case brought by South Africa. It accuses Israel of committing genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. This case has put more pressure on Prime Minister Netanyahu over Israel's war against Hamas.
This weekend will mark the official kickoff to Black History Month in our state.
And you also have a chance to celebrate the Chinese New Year. Let's start with the 23rd annual African American Cultural Celebration, though. That celebration happening tomorrow at the North Carolina Museum of History from 10:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. There will be performances, music, art, dance, and food, and admission is free.
Harry Potter fans will want to head to Durham Performing Arts Center this weekend for a special concert. A live orchestra will perform the score during a screening of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Shows are happening all weekend.
And tomorrow, the Chinese New Year Festival in Raleigh will celebrate the Year of the Dragon. It'll be at Dorton Arena from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. You can enjoy food, performances, and activities for the whole family. Renee Chu will be the MC. Tickets are $10 at the door. Children under 6 are free.
More than 20 million people stopped to visit North Carolina state parks over the last year, and the most visited park is right here in our area. New data from the Department of Wildlife says 20.1 million people enjoyed the outdoors. It's up 4% from 2022. For the second year in a row, Jordan Lake saw the most visitors with more than 2.5 million people.
Tonight, a group of teenagers in Henderson will give back to their community. From 7 until 9, groups will be making blessing bags for homeless people in the city. The bags will include items like soap and toothbrushes. They also include a washcloth and a new pair of socks. Well, Stanley Tumbler's latest cup design sold out in just over 30 minutes. A limited edition Lunar New Year themed Stanley Tumbler was launched Thursday. It features a red and cream design with colorful scales in honor of the Year of the Dragon. A Stanley representative said the company's China Asia Pacific division helped develop the design for the product. Additional stock of the limited edition Lunar New Year themed tumbler is only available in Canada.
Carolina Panthers have a new head football coach. Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator Dave Canales is stepping in. He'll be the team's 7th head coach since David Tepper took over as owner in 2018. On Monday, the Panthers hired former Panther linebacker Dan Morgan. He was also an assistant general manager. Now he's their new general manager.
SAG-AFTRA is backing Alec Baldwin as he faces a second involuntary manslaughter charge. The Hollywood Union issued a statement yesterday saying, quote, an actor's job is not to be a firearms or weapons expert. During the filming of the movie Rust, cinematographer Helena Hutchins was fatally shot by a round of ammunition that was fired by a prop gun Baldwin was holding. The actor was indicted by a grand jury last week. An arraignment is scheduled for February 1st.
A popular children's series gets movie treatment, and new music is on the way from Justin Timberlake. Ashley Dvorkin in the Hollywood Nation.
Is there a hospital nearby? Is it like too far?
Gyllenhaal packs a punch, Timberlake returns to music, and Bob gets a movie in the Hollywood Nation.
Can we fix it?
Bob the Builder will be making his big screen debut. Mattel Films is developing an animated movie based on the long-running children's series that will be set in Puerto Rico. In the Heights star Anthony Ramos will voice the popular character, as well as co-produce the film alongside Jennifer Lopez's Nuyorican Productions. Longtime friends and collaborators Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are working together again. Damon will star in the Affleck-directed crime thriller Animals, which revolves around a kidnapping.
So if I get jealous.
Justin Timberlake dropped his new single Selfish along with its music video. The track is off his first solo record in 5 years, Everything I Thought It Was, due out March 15th.
I just get tired of dominating.
Jason Derulo and Michael Bublé unveiled their first collaborative single, Spicy Margarita, in time for National Spicy Margarita Day.
Hey, you're my spicy margarita, babe.
The release comes a month after Bublé appeared on Derulo's podcast series, On the Road. The track will be featured on Derulo's upcoming album, New King, which is out February 16th. And Jake Gyllenhaal takes on UFC icon Conor McGregor in today's First Looks. Prime Video released the first trailer to the remake of Patrick Swayze's 1989 movie Roadhouse. Gyllenhaal steps into Swayze's original role as an ex-UFC fighter hired as a bouncer at a roadhouse in the Florida Keys. The film starts streaming March 21st.
People seem a little aggressive around here.
That was Ashley Dvorkin reporting. Well, today marks 4 years since the death of Kobe Bryant. The NBA superstar and his daughter Gigi died in a helicopter crash along with 7 others in 2020. In the 4 years since his death, he has been honored in many ways. The NBA All-Star Game MVP trophy is now named after him. In 2021, Bryant was posthumously indicted into the Basketball Hall of Fame.
King Charles III has been admitted to a London hospital for a scheduled prostate procedure. The King was admitted this morning to the same private hospital where the Princess of Wales is recovering from abdominal surgery. Buckingham Palace says it'll confirm when the King's procedure has ended. The palace revealed last week the King was diagnosed with a benign condition.
DiGiorno giving sports fans a chance to score a free pizza during this year's Super Bowl game. So this is how it works. During the big game, if the ball hits the post during field goals or extra point attempts, some lucky people will be chosen in a random drawing and will receive a coupon redeemable for a free pizza. Fans can sign up beginning February 1st until the day of the game, February 11th, on DiGiorno's website. We'll be right back.